Hey guys, Redneck Computer Geek here. So we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be helping my buddy Justin over here, which he's not ignoring me. Justin is actually deaf and he uses sign language. So I'm horrible at English and we're communicating using text messages sometimes here, but we're going to do the best we can. He's got a wiring harness issue in his Dragster that he's building, so we'll show you the machine. I love that paint scheme. Oh, there we go.
That's what's good.
All right, John, step back for a second. So this is what we're going to be sorting out today, is getting rid of all the safety, whatever garbly-gook stupidity that it no longer uses, because we got to get it doing like 35 miles an hour plus, and you don't need safety switches for going 35 miles an hour. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is rip that entire wiring harness out. As you can see, this one at some point got a little bit fricasseed. These are the safety switches that we are eliminating today in order to be done with them. So I just wanted to point out the plugs that actually matter. This is an engine harness plug depending on what you have, and this is the one we'll be using today for the engine harness. So this we need to make sure to save. If you want a fuse, this is your inline fuse holder. This inline fuse holder is important. This plug here is your charge circuit plug. This white one here goes to the solenoid. This is your positive in, and this is your solenoid ground. So if you take this black wire and you run it straight to the chassis and then you put 12 volts on this, your solenoid is going to fire. This one here, this is from your diode side of your stator. This is what recharges your battery. You have to make sure it's on the diode side. That way, when it's charging, it doesn't backfeed into the stator. If you don't know what I mean about the diode, that would be sorting this out right here. That is your diode. So that is your charging circuit. This is your headlight circuit. So on this particular setup, it is the red and white wire that is your charge. The black wire is your kill, and the gray wire goes to the solenoid on the carburetor, of which we're going to make sure the pin is cut off like we do on all racing builds. So I use a lot of these, and I'll post a link down in the description below for a generic one of these. Justin actually ordered this based on my recommendation. What you have to do is, these are designed for a system that feeds the coil or the ignition. So what you have to do is you have to pull this out and you actually have to rotate it so that it becomes a coil kill instead of a coil ignite. And so what we're going to do is, there's a little keyway right here. And if you look on the back of this, you're going to see there's a keyway there. So you grind that keyway down, and then you turn it 180 degrees in the switch panel, so that way it becomes a coil ground instead of a coil positive. Alright, so Justin's finishing up the last of the wiring harness grounds, so I figured we'd do a once over here. This is a couple of solenoids, which are what are in the bottom of this. So this is what they look like. This is what they look like after you chop the stupid plunger off. And that keeps it from shutting off your bowl, which means that you keep your gas. So Justin has this put in just in case. As far as the wiring goes, it's pretty standard and simple. This wire here goes to the coil. This is going to go to ground. This is a positive feed directly to the battery. This goes to the other side of the solenoid. That side goes to chassis ground. That one goes to the battery. And that one goes to the starter on Justin's side. And if you want headlights, which Justin does in case he runs at night, because he intends to use this around his house also, you have your positive coming from here to here. This brown wire, which is what most of these Husqvarnas and Craftsmans use for the headlight wire, goes through there, over, and to the headlights. And then you simply take the other side of the headlight and you ground it to a chassis ground like we have right here. And at that point, once you apply a battery, you should be able to turn some headlights on. Now, one side note with this is the way this is designed, these are always active switches, which means if you forget it on and you shut the machine off, you're going to drain your battery. So pay attention. Oh, I forgot the charge circuit. So down on that side where I showed you the diode, so we've got our diode side here. Our diode side comes out to this red and white wire. That converts over to this blue wire. That blue wire then comes up and around and goes into the positive feed, which back feeds from there to the solenoid into this for the charging circuit. Well, we're getting close now. We just got to go and get the gas tank in, and then we should be able to go and give it a test fire. On a side note, I'm not sure what happened to this battery, but I think it tried to join the Blue Man group and didn't quite make it. I think that's a pretty cool wheelie bar. What do you think? And these SunFs are nice also. I'll make sure to go and look these up and put a link in the description for you guys. They're 18 9.58. Made in China. Another side note I wanted to point out, this is a Speedway pedal. It's like the one that I run on the Mud Wizard, but it's made by Speedway, same kind of idea. They're about $40, $45 last time I checked. I'll make sure to include a link for that also. Ah! Needs a little tuning. Alright, so disclaimer before he ends up taking this for its first test drive. This has the original pulleys in it. It's still the stock setup. The reason being is because down in here, it has the steering that goes down through and has the fan blade type, if you can see it there. So He's going to have to modify it similar to what I ended up doing with the Bug Dragster, and he hasn't gotten to that point yet. The other thing is on this, he's got to take the clutch assembly, which is over here under the motor, and he's got to move it back. So it needs to be over in this area past the steering somehow. So he's got to sort that out, but we're going to at least take it for a quick little test drive.